Hey folks, it's good to be back. I'm really overwhelmed by the responses I got when I announced about this channel. Thanks for the amazing love and support. Here is another video about something which I wanted to talk about for a long time. I'm going to cover something which would be useful for everyone, not definitely a technical topic, but it would be applicable for all the developers. I usually mention this in all my talks. Here I am repeating again. As a developer, it's very important to have your personal brand, and this topic is all around that. Especially it covers one of the aspects about giving back to the community. This topic is very relevant and is around the community contribution. So I will talk about why branding is important as a developer or a professional who is working in the IT industry. So I will be sharing my personal experience and contributions to the community in different phases of my career. I thought this topic will be useful for beginners as well as developers who want to start contributing to the community. Just to start with, as the picture in the slide relates, becoming a tattoo artist is easy, but to become a great tattoo artist requires a lifetime of blood, right? We are talking about years of hard work. Sometimes you have to do without any payment, but once you get to that level and a brand, you are the master of it, and it gives immense amount of happiness, right? Every single person has a personal brand. We are creating it in every single day based on the activities that we do. It's not about being successful with your profession. It's about being purposeful to others as well. Even as a developer, how you are helping other developers to achieve more. Let's get started with the simple question, right? Think of an answer in your mind. As you can see in this slide, I'm showing you the picture of a cap. The question here is, how much would you pay for this cap? As a standard, you can imagine your answer in US dollars or even in your local currency. When thinking of an answer, you can consider different attributes of the cap, right? It could be the color of the cap, it could be the design, and probably the size. I hope you have an answer in your mind. But did you see the difference in this particular slide? You see a logo on top of it, right? Everyone knew that the value of the cap increased because of the brand that is added to the cap, right? So the brand is not just a logo, it has immense value, and it's a collection of different perceptions as well. So there are two versions for each one of us. One is the sense of our personality, which is in personal experience, and the second one is the online experience, which is even harder to achieve, right? The challenge is about recreating the in-person experience online. I wanted to touch upon this topic of personal branding as it links to the actual topic of making an impact through the contributions. If you ask me, a personal brand is a promise of value. It's not really about the way you dress or whether you own a BMW or an Audi. It's about a conscious and mindful set of actions that are packed together, right? It's kind of an evolving process if you really thought about it. If I have to put it in my own definition, it's a genuine, authentic reflection of your own goals and the values that you possess. So it's a way to align and strengthen your reputation, and you can think in a way that it's an intentional focus on what you want to be and what you are known for. It's truly representing yourself and being consistent with who you are. It's more applicable in today's context since we are living in a digital world, and it's really important to be consistent in the things you do. Alright, let me talk about something which is really important, which is about personal branding spectrum. So this is a spectrum representing how you could achieve successful branding. Positioning your brand is all about who you are and why should people care about you. It can be achieved by building your brand identity by reflecting your own goals and contributions. So brands are built on what people are saying about you. It's not about what you are saying about yourself. That is really important. Everyone is expert at something, right? As I mentioned earlier. So we need to think about how others would see us from their perspective. So to build a strong brand foundation, start by taking an inventory of the branding assets that you already possess, right? First rule of thumb to build a brand is be yourself. The second rule of thumb is be purposeful and add values to whatever you already have. And finally, it's about being consistent and creative in the things that you do. So building a brand doesn't mean you have to show yourself a heroic approach. Be open about your failures and weaknesses, because that's what makes you genuine and more authentic and relatable as well. When you're thinking of a brand, it could be a combination of your passion and what others need from you. So think of this formula whenever you want to achieve your goals. Let me make it more interesting, and here is a simple question to you. If you have been contributing back to the community all these days, what is the most common or the top one you would pick out of these options which are given below? The question here is, you need to think and answer this. You cannot give multiple answers. Pick the one which is based on the way you are doing it so far, and also the top one that you think which you have been doing it consistently. If I have to answer this question, I would pick the one where I do answer questions on Stack Overflow on a daily basis, and I have been doing it consistently for the last 10 years and so on, which had showed me tremendous results. So it might differ for each one of you based on the things that you have been doing so far. But if you are not picking any of these options, or even if you are not doing any of this is a time for you to think. Let me tell you why you should do and how you should do it. Based on the option you chose, if you really look at the contributions, those are like fingerprints, right? Nobody are the same. Everyone has unique fingerprint, but you all leave them all over everything you do. So it doesn't matter whether you are an introvert or person who don't talk to people. Choose one of those options that's going to build your brand. I'm a great example of being an introvert, but I have been extremely successful in terms of building the communities around myself and also building my reputation. It could be in different forms for each of us, right? Maybe you are better at doing YouTube videos, or a person who is better at doing podcast. Maybe you are better at writing blogs. So it doesn't matter whether you are an expert or a beginner. We need to challenge to do better and better every day. Just start to do and keep continuing it. That's one of the formula to achieve success in anything what you do. If you look at it, dream jobs are real, right? You get them by learning about yourself and your strengths, and then showcasing your assets to the world. That is very much applicable in my career so far. One of the recent survey shows that we need to spend 37 minutes per day to be a successful influencer in any technical job that we do. I'm sure that every one of you know about open source. I just want to emphasize the fact that open source is built on the idea that we can do more together. Open source is volunteering on your own terms in your own timeline, right? Together, a global community can relate beyond the capabilities of any individual. Also, it multiplies the effort and share the work with others. So together we can do more things. If you want to hear some of the cool stories about open source, we can take Microsoft Stories as an example on the VS Code and TypeScript, and how it's empowering developers to build own things. One of the recent invention I came across is the CodePilot plugin, which is really cool invention, and it had huge reach among the developers, also with mixed opinions as well, right? There are two ways you can look at it in terms of others. It helps others to expand something they started. One of the recent project is a great example for this, right? One developer started an open source project named Fund Request. It's for developers by developers. It's a blockchain platform that connects business projects in need of work to be done to a thriving global network of software developers. It also encourages the open dialogues and exchange with others, so you have the freedom of not being bound to any opinions. It lets you to explore full creativity in you and share your thoughts. Just to give an example, say if you want to contribute back to some product as a MVP or GDE, you can give your feedback to the product team, where everyone get to talk and show the business importance of the feature, and finally it gets to the implementation stage. It lets you to work with great people. That is one of the great thing in open source, right? When it comes to individual, it has so many benefits. It helps you to build a profile. You can level up in skills. I learned few languages by contributing to GitHub, especially the Angular. There are instances when people from large organizations highlight the work. That is a great boost for you to build your career. When I was a non-Microsoft team, my GitHub repository on Cosmos DB was mentioned in the newsletter by the Cosmos DB team. That is just another example I wanted to highlight. And finally, everyone get to know you, right? That is a great asset that you have in open source. There is no requirement to have some particular coding skill. Contributions can come in any form and you are qualified. One of the recent story that I came across, I'm sure most of you might be knowing this well-known person, Kelsey Hightower, who is a Googler and a cloud advocate, Kubernetes influencer. His story has been so inspiring in terms of contributions to the community. He is one of those who is able to deliver complex ideas as easy as possible, and he gives back to the community in many forms, starting from his blogs to speaking at different conferences. So we discussed there are different ways to contribute or give back to the community. This was shared by Scott Hanselman. You can see different things which are listed, and the suggestion here is to pick 3 ways out of this list and do it consistently. So the rule of thumb here is to choose 3 to be a rock star, and it will position you better for success. I'm going to share 4 of the ways I have chosen to create my impact to the community and build my own brand. The first one is obviously Stack Overflow. I love the platform personally. It is a great platform where you go to learn from everyone on a daily basis, which makes you a better programmer as well. You read awesome code by others, you get the feedback from other developers on your code as well, and the gamification factor, it's the reputation and ranking, which automatically drives you to contribute back and to learn as well. My journey with Stack Overflow has been there for the past 10 years. When I was a developer, I wanted to make sure that I spend at least 1 hour per day to pick up 10 questions in the areas of interest and try to solve them. It kept me motivated all over these years, and also now as well, even though I don't get time to contribute back, or I'm not aggressive these days as I used to be. I still answer questions. As you could see, I rank as the top contributor in the world for Azure, Angular and JavaScript, and I have impacted 17 million developers with more than 500 batches. There have been several personal milestones with Stack Overflow. Back in 2015, I became the top contributor in the country, and right now I am in the top 300 contributors in the world overall. 2 tips on beginners on Stack Overflow. Most of us use it to refer the answers from the existing solutions. You need to start contributing no matter what level of skills you have. You need to be consistent as well. Second one is really interesting. If you are in tech industry, you should love this, right? If you ask why you need to contribute to GitHub repositories, first, if you have an idea to create something amazing and to expand with the help of others, this is a great place. Second, if you want to fix a thing that annoys everyone, especially you, it could be any open source repository. You could simply clone it, fix it, and create a PR. Third, it also provides a way to learn from others, from developers across the world, right? I've been a good GitHub contributor when I was a developer, and some of my contributions made me to be recognized by the Angular team, which is most widely used by the single page application developers and the enterprises, and .NET Foundation and also .NET Foundation for some of my contributions with documentation. And finally, the OpenFast is an open source platform to create serverless functions on any environment, and I have more than 120 sample repositories on StackBlitz, which you can refer as well. So these are some of the contributions that I have done on GitHub. Third is very important, which is blogging. It is another way that I have been consistently doing it for the past 10 years. So blogging is one of the oldest way that many have been doing it in the past, and my inspiration on blogging was obviously Scott Hanselman. I started as a part-time blogger, which was a paid job in one of the site named Bodunan back in 2006 when I was a student, where I wrote about generic topics about cricket, movies and things like that. By 2011, when I started as a developer, I thought I should share my experience with fellow developers. So I started with Blogger domain in 2011, covering topics around .NET, JavaScript and web development. But the break came in 2018, so it has been 7 years of continuous contribution. By 2018, I was able to grow my blog, which had around 1.5 million views. Back in 2018, when I started with Azure, I accepted a personal challenge in the MVP Summit to write 54 blogs in 12 months. But I was able to write only 13 blogs within a span of 12 months. But eventually, it helped me to achieve or improve the things that I was doing on the blogging side. From my personal experience, blogging consumes a lot of time, but it's definitely worth it. And you can see the impact I made on the left side in terms of blogging, right? Due to the continuous efforts in writing the blogs, I was able to join as a technical reviewer in some of the publications, starting with Packet and PBB. And right now I have been reviewing some of the technical books on the areas that I am passionate on. So it gives you an opportunity to interact with different people, different publications, in order to gain your knowledge and learn from others as well. The next thing I'm going to talk about is very relevant to developers, which is Twitter. I make sure that I share at least 2 tweets per day, minimum 1 related to tech. One of the tips in Twitter is that we should keep the audience intact so that they pay attention, and also you get to grow your followers. Twitter is the best medium to get tech updates in quick manner and to interact with any of your inspiration in the tech industry. As you could see from my close circles, based on the interaction and the content I share, you see the great names from companies like Microsoft, Google, AWS, and Auth0. Twitter content share is one of the most consistent way I give back to the community these days. And finally, organizing meetups conference is a great way to interact with the community, even though it requires a lot of efforts in terms of getting things together. It makes you a better person, not only by learning the technology, and you are also able to make network, meet others, and be inspired by others, right? I have been an organizer for few of the conferences which had 400 plus developers and many meetups, and I have participated in more than 30 plus conferences, which provided me an opportunity to meet some of the great experts from the industry. Here are some of the memories where I got a chance to attend biggest conferences from biggest companies like Google and Microsoft. These are some of the pictures which I had taken in the Google and Microsoft office, and you can see some of the conferences that I had attended and personally delivered some talks as well. This gives you an opportunity to interact with others from different parts of the world, and also to show your presence in different countries. If you still wonder why you need to contribute, I just want to highlight some of the priceless recognitions that I got, right? On Stack Overflow, I have received more than 1,000 appreciations, and I have posted one thread here to show how a simple .NET package issue that I was able to resolve and posted as an answer, which had nearly 137,000 views. The real happiness is when you hear these comments from the community. This makes me motivated to do more and more, and driving me till now. On the award side, I got few recognitions, starting with Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, Google Developer Expert for Web Technologies, and also the top blogger on Azure by FeedSpot. And I recently received the Noonis Award for Most Outstanding Educator in Technology by Hackathon. I have achieved more things through the contributions that I have shown in the previous slides as well. Those are the ways I frequently contribute to the community and my journey on the open source contributions. One of the greatest tips I learned is that you need to be consistent across all the ways we talked about. And also another great tip is that to have a better social index, try to keep the same profile photo across all mediums. Make sure to follow the tips which are given on the slide. I'm not going to repeat, but you can follow the slide. And we have a person who have followed all these tips and have a great impact out of this, right? Any thoughts on the person whom I am talking about? It's none other than myself who is speaking here, right? It was taken at MVP Summit for the purpose of having better online presence, and it really worked for me in terms of making my online brand. To wrap up this video, here are some of the tips, right? Branding and contributions are about being yourself, so you don't have to do anything extra other than dedicating some time. Also, remember one secret, right? When you do a search on any search engine, you are getting tons of results. Imagine if we don't contribute, we won't be seeing anything in the results. It's us who are contributing, or who are the actual contributors. So here are some of the tips to be a better contributor and help the world to be a better place. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I would love to see more contributions from you in the coming days, and to create a better version of yourself that is your personal brand. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in another video. Stay safe.